Yes. Interesting. I was just going to say how proud I was that everything was working and something stopped working.
How unusual.
Yeah. What happened?
I bought a shop vac today, Paul. I'm very excited about this.
The what?
Shop vac, you know, to
Oh, a shop vac.
like vacuum up the basement.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could bring it to Redmond and clean up the Windows Insider program. Actually, I think a toilet might be a more effective tool. Yep. It's been that kind of a week.
Well, my weekend's with asbestos removal, so I guess that's probably pretty appropriate.
Exactly. Things that are bad for your health. I'll take things that are bad for your health for 100, Bob. It's the Windows Insider program.
All right, you ready?
Okay.
Paul, one of my favorite things to do in the world is to put myself on a high horse.
Wow. Okay.
So there's these rumors going. There are these rumors going around, Paul. Rumors from corners of the web, saying that the next generation Surface stuff might have an ARM chip, might be have an AMD chip, probably doesn't have Thunderbolt. You heard any of that before? Yeah.
I was just reading it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Have I heard about any of this before?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe in a book that was written.
A book, yeah, right. A book that we might have discussed as recently as yesterday.
Yeah, which I haven't finished that and published it yet, but that'll go up soon. Earlier podcast in the year, I know we've talked about no Thunderbolt, and AMD's looking like it's going to happen, and Qualcomm might be showing up, and yeah.
Qualcomm and AMD are fine. Somebody asked me today about, and asked Paul if I could have one wish granted with this current generation, or maybe it was phrased like if I could have one thing implemented across the board, right? What would it be? And of course, it would be Thunderbolt 3. And the thing is, like, this has come to light for me recently because I go upstairs in the afternoon and I work on that programming Windows series. I do so laying down on the bed. And I know that sounds like a weird way to work, but there's a lot of reading involved, and it's reading across the web and Kindle books and then actual paper books. I've probably purchased 25 books since I started the series, paper books.
I hope you're not reading any of those EPUBs in Edge.
No. I am reading them with the Kindle Cloud Reader and the new Edge, but that's, that's a different thing. One day, I was up there and I was working on the Surface Book 2 because I've got a lot of my virtual machines on there. It's just a good device for that kind of thing. And the battery was almost dead. And I was upstairs and I was like, oh, damn it, I got to go find a Surface, power adapter, whatever. But I had been using a Dell laptop. The Dell laptop has a USB-C charger. It was plugged into the wall right next to the bed. And I was able to plug it in and charge. And I thought to myself, I've been really harping on Microsoft about this Thunderbolt 3 thing. But the truth is, for most people and for most use cases, just adding USB-C would be enough.
Oh, yeah.
The problem, as you know, is that they haven't even done that.
Right.
Like, to date, they've been very inconsistent across the board with USB-C. In fact, since they started adding it, they've released some new products that don't have it, like the Surface Laptop 2. So looking at 2019 and how far they are behind the rest of the industry, the minimum today is not USB-C anymore, which they still don't have. It is literally Thunderbolt 3. They can do that in combination with their existing charging scheme if they want to keep using that for some reason, for backward compatibility with businesses or whatever. That's fine. But not having that, it's not just embarrassing, it's crippling. And it's inconceivable. And what you're telling us is, I know you're making that face, it's conceivable.
Maybe they don't let you into this event because they know you're going to...
I'm going to be in the back, and when he doesn't say anything about Thunderbolt 3, I'm going to just be like, liar! Even though that doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah, I was going to say.
everyone's going to look at me like, oh, it was nice seeing you.
Your cat just comes strolling in like, what I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. As Al Vanderlaan, somebody, Al Vander in the chat room says USB 4 easier, or USB Type 4 is going to be when they do it. And I tend to agree with that.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, well, USB 4 will solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the word solve should be.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but when's that going to happen? Are they going to have a single device with USB, USB 4, whatever we're calling it? No,
they'll take their sweet time.
Yeah. I don't like how far behind they are on this stuff. And I really feel like Surface has a brand reputation that's really just an opportunity now. It's not even a reality to be leaders in design, leaders in showing the world what a PC can be. You know, that aspirational thing. And in their current state, they're good-looking computers, and I love them. I know you do too. But not being a technological leader is a huge problem when you're the platform maker. It's something that Google, I think, struggles with too with their Pixel devices. You know, they are certainly a leader in photography, and I personally happen to like their clean Android UI, but other people may disagree with that. Doesn't really matter. In both cases, I think there's a decided lack of leadership.
Yeah. Well, speaking of other fun things in the Microsoft world, we had this happen yesterday, which created a rigmarole of confusion across, I think, everybody who read the blog post.
That's weird, because usually their blog posts are really well understood and well written.
So for those who are not up to speed, Microsoft announced a new 2-in-1 /tablet UI, but it's not a tablet UI, and it's only for devices in certain modes. And it was really confusing the way we all, like, everybody read this and they're getting rid of the tablet UI, and this is what it is, because it's kind of what it said. And what this really is like if you're using the device in the tent mode and you want to touch it with your finger, it adds some spacing. It collapses these icons, which if you're listening to this podcast and these icons are not collapsed on your taskbar already, please do so for my own sanity, because they should not be expanded.
Remove them completely, because you don't need any of them.
Well, that one, you don't need them. Two, they come over to like here.
Yeah.
It's like 90% of your taskbar.
First thing I do is get rid of all that stuff.
Same. And then I unpin every live
so
tile.
You just said something I didn't know, but I also wanted to ask you about this. So the thing I didn't know, you said tent mode. Do you mean tent mode explicitly? Tent mode?
Well, that's what we don't know. Like if you read it,
how did they describe it?
They called it like posture mode or something. Which
for fuck's sake. Okay.
Let me
please. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Let me pull this up.
So we're getting to the point now where I clearly need to have a 20H1 build going somewhere. So just while he's doing this, there's a bit of background. You know, one of the few complaints about Windows 10 when it first launched was from that minority part of the population. Not that they're any less important, but the very few people who liked to use Windows 8.1 on tablets. And Windows 8.1, if you remember, you could hold the thing from the sides, and there were little UIs that would slide in on either side, and it was gestures, and it was actually pretty good for that kind of stuff. In Windows 10, they I almost said dumbed down. That's not fair. They streamlined that stuff, so we don't obviously we don't have the charms coming over from the side, but there are still edge swipes you can do, and if you run an app full screen, you can still swipe down from the top and get access to those control buttons, so you can minimize whatever. Close and so forth. But there was a pretty vocal part of the population who did not like that. I think that what Microsoft did in Windows 10 with regards to tablet mode and all that kind of stuff was pragmatic and maybe the right middle ground. But when I saw this, what I saw was a further step in that direction away from Windows 8, where Microsoft, I almost said but Microsoft is kind of acknowledging, like, look, this is the Windows desktop. We have a taskbar in tablet mode by default. When you go into tablet mode today, the taskbar icons disappear, if I'm not mistaken. I know you can change that regardless. In this mode, the buttons remain. They spread out a little further, so they're more easily hit with a finger. If you have the full search bar out, it shrinks down to an icon, again, to save space because they're spreading icons out. They have a touch-friendly version of File Explorer, and it is enabled by default. I think that's already in Windows 10 today. But I think it's just part of this switch, right? So is that not correct? I mean, is that this to me is what that looks like. It's like a further step away from Win8.
Sort of. Let me read it for
please.
verbatim. We are beginning to roll out a new tablet experience for 2-in-1 convertible PCs as a beta to Windows Insiders. This new experience.
2-in-1 when you said 2-in-1 convertible.
Yep.
Was the 2-in-1 / convertible?
No, 2-in-1.
I know, but convertible is part of it. Like, in other words, 2-in-1 convertible is the whole, is a thing and not two things. Yes, I know. Everything they do is poorly written. Okay.
And it's a new tablet experience for 2-in-1 convertible PCs. This new experience will allow users entering tablet posture to stay in the familiar desktop experience without interruption.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
There's a lot to digest there.
God forbid we have to change the terms here, because obviously there's something in Windows 10 today called tablet mode.
Right.
But by using the word posture, you're in some ways implying that it's the change in orientation of the physical device, which today they don't really use this term in the UI anywhere, but this is the continuum thing. This is the Surface Book does this when you unclip the clipboard, or when you flip the keyboard around backwards, or if you have Surface Pro
Tent
and you
mode,
use it like a tablet.
Like tenting.
Yeah. Tenting. I hate to use that term, but it's an automatic, well, it can be an automatic switch in the operating system. You're prompted if you want it to be automated. Yeah. Fuck, they are so terrible at this. I wish I could have humor about this, but honestly, right now it's starting to seem diabolical. It's almost like they put their stupidest people in charge of communication so they could screw us over so bad that we wouldn't care anymore. I can't believe how something that's so critically important to understanding what they're talking about is miscommunicated so often. This is the simplest terms. Is this a change to tablet mode, which is a Windows 10 feature, or is it a change to continuum, which is something that happens sometimes automatically when you change the use of a physical device, right? By flipping the screen around or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, if you can figure out how to get magical mode here. It spaces things out so it's a little bit easier to touch. It's sort of like a halfway house to tablet mode, but not quite there.
Okay. So obviously what has to happen is I need to install this on something that is a convertible, so I can see how this is communicated in the operating system itself, because that description you just read is incomplete.
Yeah. Well, the question becomes too is, like, the device that always jumps out of my head is the Surface Pro, right? Is that device permanently in tent mode, or is it in PC mode, because it's kind of like a tablet but not, and it's
well, I would argue
when replace your laptop
in its normal configuration with the type cover attached to it and used like a laptop keyboard, that's in clamshell mode, right? And that's how it works today by default. If you flip that keyboard cover up around the back, does it? I'm not even sure. Does it go into tablet mode automatically, or does it prompt you? I don't.
It might.
It might. It should. If you detach the keyboard, certainly it will ask. Then you can have it be automated. So I guess what I'm saying is, you said, what was the word? Posture? Tablet posture?
Hey, posture. You gotta sit up straight.
God. So.
That's the question. Is like, when do you see this mode? Like, I don't. So there's a couple thoughts here that maybe this is related, and this is just like straight winging it. Related
well, you have to wing it.
To light somehow, and that maybe tablet, as we know it today, will eventually just get replaced and just go away in favor of that kind of modern OS thing that they're building, and that this will become, because for me, this would be fine for most touch devices. All you need to do is just make the touch targets larger, and that's it. I
don't like the introduction of a term like this when we have words that we already use, right? So it is either just, incompetent writing, which frankly would be believable, or it is the subtle introduction of a new term, which is related to what you just said. This is complex because people probably know this. I mean, you could, with a desktop computer, essentially configure it as tablet mode. I mean, you can do things like you could turn stuff on that makes it like, that does that if you want to. I mean, and so there is a mode. It's called tablet mode. There are also things you could turn on the full screen start menu if you wanted instead of having a menu. Doesn't mean you're in tablet mode, but when you go into tablet mode, that is one of the things that changes. So there's all these things you can kind of flip switches on. It's already a little complex, honestly.
Wait, here's the best part for your testing purposes, as Chris points out in the chat room. And this appears to be yet another random percentage of insiders will get this feature. So you got to play the loot box game or hack your registry to enable it or not enable it. Trying to keep it a friendly show here.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, I would like to take the optimistic route and say that there's some grandeur plans here and that this is all going to get cleared up in April of 20H1. Can I say that with the full confidence of my posture?
I'm surprised you can say it without laughing.
Well, I have been removing asbestos in my house. There's not much. There's a bunch of...
Your eyes are a little red. Man, this is worse than I thought it was.
It's just... It's
I
one
need
of those
less
things you read it,
that
you're
I
like,
have
this
to...
isn't right. Something's wrong here.
That is correct. There is absolutely something wrong here. That's, yeah. Yep.
So, anyways, if I got nothing else. I got nothing else on that one.
Jeez.
Well, the good news is, Paul, we can look forward to dumping all of our Windows devices on September 10th at the new Apple event that's coming. So,
September 10th. Yeah. So, I mean, this is obviously an iPhone event, and then they usually announce new Apple Watches at that event. Do you think there's going to be more than that?
So, rumors of new updated iPads, which is great since I just bought one.
Isn't it weird that they have been updating the iPad on a curiously accelerated schedule in recent years?
I wonder if they're seeing sales, or I also wonder too if it's just they have chips like lying around and they need to get rid of them.
Yeah, but it just, I don't know, it's weird. I mean, I the one I bought, which I don't remember when it was less than a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
And then they've updated since, and the update from mine looks the same, but they added the pencil support to the screen. So the one you bought must be that version, right? That it works with the pencil?
Yes, it does.
You wanted to? Yeah.
Yep.
So physically identical, but that was the one change. And now here we are. It's a year later. The one I bought was probably came out like a year ago this past summer. So it might be 15 months old. The version you bought would have been just a few months old. It would have been new or whatever at the time. I mean, that's a lot of iPad revs in 1 year, basically. Yeah. Or in 18 months or whatever you want to call that, 15 months.
It was actually...
Well, whatever, they're doing it. I would assume smaller bezels.
Yeah, I think that's all the things the Pro's not getting this year.
Right.
So, fun little story here. So, my daughter came home from school yesterday, and inside of her take-home folder was an app that you're supposed to download called Extra Math. Okay. And so it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an app you put on your iPad, and it helps them with their math, and then it can ship the results to the teacher and all that stuff. So we download the app, and we tell my daughter we have a new game for her, and she opens it up, and she like clicks on the icon because she knows which one's new, and goes, "Wait a minute, this is math!" And you could just see like the joy sucked out of her. It was just a precious moment of the cold hard truth that she has to actually work now.
Well, if your daughter is anything like my daughter, that will be her experience with school for the next 11 years.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. We actually had not parent teacher, back to school night last night. That was
a little early for that, huh?
Well, I mean,
I guess you're
the 12th day of school. So
okay. Well, yeah. All right.
I know that because there's a giant number thing in my daughter's classroom. It says today is the 11th day of school.
Did they highlight how many days it is till the end of school? Because that would be a lot more depressing.
Well, see, the kids still enjoy school at this point. They haven't realized that it gets harder.
Right. That will get beaten out of them.
Oh, they will be beaten with happiness. That is, yeah. So I sat in a little wood chair, the ones that are like yay big, for an hour. It was great. It was fun. So, yeah.
I am gruntled.
I can tell. If only you had some good scotch, which that is my reward for tonight.
So you haven't had it yet?
No, because apparently I'm a gerbil.
I really do. Do you have any Abundant left? Do you still have any of the other stuff?
I do. It's just a...
Yeah. You should do a side-by-side. I'm very curious about this.
I will.
The world needs to know.
I will do it
by
for
the
science.
world. I mostly mean me, but
for science, I will do it. I will drink 2 glasses of scotch tonight because Paul told me to, and who am I to say no?
Yep. Good.
So, I don't know. You got anything else for today, Mr. Paul?
No, I'm going to be out for the afternoon. Actually, I'm leaving the second we close this down, but I have a Thunderbolt 3 doc I'll be writing about. I think I'm going to do a third Nux story where I talk. I've gotten the new display that all and the speakers, and I've got this Thunderbolt 3 dock, and I think that's all work. It's all working. I think. I mean, I've had weeks of complaining, really months and months of problems, but I think that stuff is. I think it's fixed. So I'll write about that. I guess that's most of it. I guess some more programming window stuff always. I mean, the usual. How about you, Brad?
If all goes according to plan, this long which, by the way, folks, we will not be podcasting on Monday. That is a holiday here in the U.S.
Right.
So if all goes according to plan, I will be tearing down the wall I'm looking at currently.
Cool.
Yeah. And then begins like it's going to be a long time before this basement is finished because I got to get all this stuff cleaned out. Then we got to have the guy come and dig the moat. And then we got to have a new furnace and AC put in. And then we can finish it.
Oh, yeah. But speaking of which, we got the bill on the... Did I tell you about the roof thing? I think I might have. $13,000.
Yeah, that's about what mine is.
Yeah. And it's... I think we actually have to pay... We could pay as much as $1,500 depending on something. I don't know what it is, but it could be...
Yeah.
They're going to come out and look at it, and it could be up to 15.
By the way, since we're talking roof ring daily, mine is currently scheduled for, I think, they said either Wednesday or Thursday of next week, given the weather. They're going to call me on Tuesday and let me know, and then see how things work out. So yeah, but my roof had extras, added flavors that yours probably doesn't need. So
no, I mean, our real worry was they were going to just say, well, you can pay to repair it, meaning we would, I kind of want to get the whole thing done. So
nope, that's exactly what we said. We are paying extra money to get 50-year warranty on it.
Yeah.
It'll have a 25-year labor and material warranty. So that should take care of that. And then at the second half of the 25 years, it's still labor and parts, but you have to go through the manufacturer rather than the contractor who put it on.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. All right, folks. Well, that wraps it up on Angry Windows 10 Roofing Daily, and we'll catch all of you right back here next time.
I never should have had you read that to me. I specifically, when you said you were going to cover the build, I went to go see what was new. And I was like, oh, okay, this looks pretty significant. But I was like, Brad's writing about it. I don't need to worry about this. And I was thinking, why would I think they would screw something simple like this up?
Here we are.
Yeah. All right.
Later.
I won't be around, but I'll be phone.
Around.
Bye.